Good morning and welcome to the Design Value Conference. My name is Yllana and I am Senior Manager of Design Operations at Coforma and host of the AIGA Design Ops Ed webinar series. I'm excited and honored to be your host today, and I'm especially proud to have a tiny part in facilitating your questions for our speakers and keeping us on track so we can all get the most out of our time together today. I hope you're all awake, energized, and ready because in the next few hours, we're going to be discussing ways to amplify the value of design and how we might scale our design ops to improve ROI. And leading this discussion will be our esteemed lineup of speakers and leaders that I'll be introducing in just a bit. Before we get started, I do have 3 housekeeping notes to share with you. Number 1, at the end of every talk, there will be some time to ask your questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and post them using the Q&A feature in Zoom. Number 2, as these questions get posted, we encourage all of you to upvote the most interesting ones, and we'll make sure to move those to the front of the line during the Q&A block after each talk. Lastly, number 3, we'll have a short 5-minute break after each Q&A session, where we encourage you to stretch, refill your coffee, hug your dog or cat. Just be back in 5 minutes. We do have a tight schedule, so let's go ahead and get started. Right now, I'm going to pass the mic to the CEO of UXPin, Yuga.
Thank you, Francis. Hey everybody. Welcome to UXPin's Design Value Conference. I'm Yuga, CEO of UXPin. We're thrilled to be hosting a conference dedicated to the subject of design operations, a topic very close to our hearts. From the very beginning, UXPin's mission has been focused on improving the experience for not only designers, but for everyone involved in the product development cycle, including engineers and stakeholders. Our recent focus has been to contribute to the design process by breaking down the walls between designers and developers. That being said, we're delighted to host this event with so many great speakers that will be sharing their expertise and insights on how teams can improve their design process with the ultimate goal to empower not only design, but the people involved. UXPin has always focused on making the design process better. Looking back to our origins, UXPin started as a paper prototyping tool. Using these Post-it notes, you'd be able to quickly build wireframes and upload them to your computer to communicate your ideas in a more clear and structured way. I'm delighted to say we've made the switch to a fully web-based application a few years back. I'm also proud to say that our product has grown over time and has become one of the most robust platforms in the market while staying true to our core missions and value. Even today, after many years, each new product part that we've built and have planned on our roadmap is focused on optimizing the design process and empowering teams to work together in a more efficient way. Over the years, we've seen many improvements in the design process. These improvements were ideated, tested, and validated, and now have built on top of each other to form the formations of design best practices. These foundations have now evolved into its standalone discipline called design operations. These foundations, whether it's a robust component library or design system, whether it's standardizing a common practice or conducting a smooth handover process, whether it's a solid onboarding of new teammates, they all stack on top of each other and multiply with a single end goal of empowering people by making them more efficient and giving them the ability to focus on the work that really matters. Without these foundations, the design process becomes something like this. It becomes a little like playing Jenga. Without the strong base of the foundations, the more you try to build on top of it, the shakier the structure gets. For example, if your design team grows rapidly, and there's no design guideline on principles, including a design system or structured processes, the new designers only have tribal knowledge to work off of. The new designers will either feel lost or will start designing in dissonance, only adding to the already existing confusion. On a more granular level, This would lead to inconsistencies in the UI that would bleed into the handoff process and ultimately the end user's experience. On the other hand, even if an organization has very clear guidelines, if there's no adoption of the guidelines, you'd run into the same problems. Without the foundations in place, time goes to firefighting rather than value creation, which ultimately disempowers the individual. Empowering designers, developers, product managers, and really anyone and everyone involved in the product development cycle is key to any team or organization because people are the secret sauce. The benefits of having the solid foundations in place are twofold. First, you're able to immediately impact the inefficiencies with structure and standardization. Second, with less firefighting, you're enabling teammates to focus on more value add work, which will make a significant impact in the future. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So with a culture and practice of empowering design and the people involved in design, organizations enable themselves for further development of their design operations. This results in a more robust design process and stronger design culture. And given that these foundations build on top of each other, the results end up being exponential and not linear. The inherent desire to improve the experience for teams has been a core value at UXPin. We've always wanted to contribute to design and help teams empower people. The desire to enable designers to ideate faster led to the first paper product. The desire to empower designers and developers through a smooth handoff experience with the ability to create high fidelity prototypes has led to where UXPin is today. The desire to even further improve the ability to make high fidelity prototypes and implement a smoother handoff process has led us to release UXPin Merge last year. The drift between what's being designed and what gets coded remains to be an issue that is still being addressed today. Some aim to solve it by trying to translate the design into code. Our approach is to have code and the coded components be the single source of truth. UXPin Merge allows teams to bring in their coded components into the UXPin editor, allowing designers to use them to build highly interactive prototypes. UXPin Merge opened a new chapter for product teams, giving both designers and developers the common language of interactive coded components for building the product together. The coded components serve as a single source of truth and democratizes design within the whole organization. With this approach, everyone, even non-designers, are able to build advanced prototypes without the need of understanding how to add intricate interactions in the design tool. Since they are all baked into the component, anyone can build a high fidelity prototype. Imagine being able to use that interactive, standardized coded component in your next prototype. Since it already has been coded, the handoff process now boils down to your UI engineers copying and pasting the code embedded in your prototype. And if a team has a whole standardized component library, they can bring it into UXPin using Merge and have code be their single source of truth. The goal with Merge is to help teams to get more efficient by amplifying the standardized aspects of the design process, specifically the component library. With Merge, we're trying to break down the silos that exist not only between design and development, but with all teams involved in the product development cycle. Today, we're excited to announce the Merge Component Manager. The Merge Component Manager introduces a new way of integrating your coded components with the UXPin editor. We've seen a lot of teams empower their design process with Merge already, but Merge in its current form requires some help from developers, which we all know is sometimes hard to come by. That's why we've decided to introduce a new code-free way of importing your coded components into UXPin. The Merge Component Manager allows you to import and configure your components through an NPM package. The integration itself is codeless, yet it allows designers to manage and set up the properties of components within the UXPin UI and gives them the full power of coded interactions when building prototypes. We're delighted to announce a new, less technical way of obtaining a single source of truth and breaking down the walls between design and development. Here's a quick snippet of the Merge Component Manager in action. First, in the UXPin app, you go to add a library. You have the option to select the source of the components. In this case, we'll select NPM package. You enter the name of the package of the library that you want to bring in. In this case, we'll be working with Ant Design. You then are able to you're able to add a component by entering the name and selecting or assigning it a category. In this case, a button. This brings in the component, and once the component loads, you can configure the properties within the UXPin UI. So now you can see on the left that the component was successfully imported. You can configure the property name, display name, description, and property type. Once the component is configured and the changes are saved, you can go back into the editor and prototype with the coded component that you just brought in. Everything behind the component is code, and the Merge Component Manager simplifies importing these coded components. With the release of the Merge Component Manager, we aim to make the code-based design paradigm more available by making it as code-free as possible. We hope that the upcoming release of the Merge Component Manager will enable you to include coded UI components in your design process and obtain a single source of truth. If this sounds exciting to you, we encourage you to request access to the Merge Component Manager and join the waitlist as the enrollment starts today. I can't wait for everyone to give it a try and give us feedback, as we're excited with this opportunity to bring design and development closer together for more teams. That being said, we have some of the most forward-thinking design ops experts lined up to speak today. I hope everyone enjoys the talks and the event. Thank you.